Preface. Horror has always been a fascination of mine, and it's a joy to share that with my son. This collection of stories is a testament to our mutual love of the genre. So turn off the lights, grab a blanket, and prepare yourself for a journey into the unknown.
Chapter 3. Beneath the Moon's Shadow. Jack had barely slept since Lily went missing. The image of her smile, her laugh, haunted him every night, taunting him with memories of a life that was slipping through his fingers. He couldn't sit idly by, not when the police were combing through the forest in their fruitless search. He had to find her himself. "I'm going back into the forest," Jack declared one evening to Mark and Ethan, who were sitting on his porch, both looking worn from the endless days of searching. "Are you out of your mind?" Mark snapped, running a hand through his hair. "They've already searched every inch of that place. What makes you think we'll find anything?" "I have a feeling," Jack said, his voice low, almost guttural. "I think there's something deeper. We need to go back. Tonight." Ethan exchanged a glance with Mark, eyebrows furrowed. "You're scaring me, man. You're not acting like yourself." Jack looked up, his eyes shadowed and intense. "Please. She's out there. I know it." Reluctantly, Mark and Ethan agreed, and the three friends set off once more into the forest, under the cover of darkness. The moon, half hidden behind thick clouds, cast long, eerie shadows that seemed to stretch and twist around them, swallowing their forms as they ventured deeper. The forest felt different this time, heavier, as if it were holding its breath, waiting. The further they walked, the more Jack could feel a strange pull, an itch just beneath his skin. He knew this path. He had walked it before. Suddenly, the trio stumbled upon something half buried beneath the leaves, a torn piece of fabric, stained dark and frayed at the edges. That's Lily's," Ethan whispered, his face paling. "She was wearing this the night she disappeared." Jack stared down at the fabric, fingers twitching at his sides. His heart began to pound, and an uncontrollable urge surged through him, a need to keep moving, to follow the path that snaked through the trees. "Come on," he urged. "We're close." They pushed forward, their movements growing more frantic, more desperate, until finally they stumbled upon a small clearing. And there it stood, the mouth of a cave, gaping wide like a hungry beast. Jack stepped forward, compelled by an invisible force. "She's in there," he whispered, more to himself than to his friends. Mark grabbed his arm, pulling him back. "Jack, we need to get the police. We can't go in there alone." "No," Jack snapped, his voice harsh, eyes wild. "We're running out of time." Without another word, he broke free from Mark's grip and plunged into the darkness. Ethan hesitated, but then he followed, and with a resigned sigh, Mark trailed behind. The cave was cold, damp, the air thick with the smell of earth and something metallic. The further they went, the more the darkness swallowed them, until finally they stumbled upon a sight that made their blood run cold. There, lying on the cave floor, was Lily. She was barely conscious, her clothes torn, blood smeared across her skin, eyes wide with terror. Shackles bound her wrists and ankles, chains stretching to the walls like twisted veins. "Lily!" Mark cried, rushing forward, but Jack stepped in front of him, blocking his path. "Don't!" Jack hissed, his voice dripping with something unrecognizable. "Stay back!" "What the hell is wrong with you?" Mark demanded, shoving him aside. "We have to get her out of here." But before Mark could take another step, Jack slammed him against the cave wall with a force that didn't seem human. "I said stay back." Ethan stood frozen, eyes darting between Jack and the shivering figure of Lily. "Jack, what's going on?" "Isn't it obvious?" Jack whispered, and for the first time a smile curled at the corners of his lips, dark, twisted and entirely out of place. "I brought you here." Mark struggled against Jack's grip, panic seeping into his voice. "What the hell are you talking about?" "You wouldn't understand," Jack murmured as if speaking to a child. "It's for the best." With a swift motion, Jack's hand tightened around Mark's throat, the sound of bones cracking echoing through the cave. Mark's eyes went wide, a strangled gasp escaping his lips, and then he went limp, collapsing to the ground. Ethan took a step back, shaking his head, disbelief etched across his face. "No, no, Jack. This isn't you. This isn't real." "Isn't it?" Jack said, tilting his head. "You should have stayed away, Ethan. You should have let this go." He lunged, faster than Ethan could react, slamming him against the cave wall, pinning him in place. And then Ethan saw it, the flicker of something behind Jack's eyes. Something ancient, primal, and hungry. "No," Ethan whimpered, tears streaming down his face. "You can't be. You're not." "Don't worry," Jack whispered, his breath hot against Ethan's ear. "You won't remember any of this." And then, with one swift movement, everything went dark. Silence fell over the cave, broken only by the ragged, terrified breathing of Lily. She stared at Jack, trembling as he slowly turned to face her, blood staining his hands. "Why?" she whispered, voice barely audible. "Why are you doing this?" Jack paused, tilting his head as if considering the question, and then slowly, he stepped into the light that crept into the cave, the moon illuminating his face, the face that was no longer entirely human. His eyes glowed an unnatural yellow, his features twisted, elongated, his teeth sharp and glistening. "Because," Jack said, voice low, almost gentle, "I can't let anyone know." The moonlight shifted, casting Jack's shadow against the cave wall, and for the first time Lily saw it. The monstrous, hulking figure, claws extended, fangs bared. And she understood. Jack took a step closer, his breath heavy, ragged, his eyes never leaving hers. "You were always special, Lily," he murmured, reaching out, his fingers brushing against her cheek. "That's why I couldn't let you go." As the last vestiges of humanity bled away from Jack's eyes and the beast took over, Lily squeezed her eyes shut, a tear slipping down her face, and just as the darkness swallowed her whole, Jack's voice echoed in her ears one last time. "You'll always be mine." Outside, the moon hung heavy in the sky, bathing the forest in its pale, ghostly glow. And as a blood-curdling howl tore through the night, the forest fell silent, bearing witness to the monster that had finally emerged.